Good morning and welcome back to the show. Joining me in the studio are just two very special guests here, and we have Paul Cohen of the Breck Fine Art Gallery and Angela Mia de la Vega.
Right.
Don't let me get it wrong. Well, good morning to you both, and thanks for coming in. So, talking about a lot of the great art that you can find in Breck Fine Art Gallery, and what you do during the summer season is you bring in all your resident artists, right? And they get to perform, demonstrate their talents and through their mediums, and either paint, sculpt, in which this case is what we have here going on this weekend. So tell me about what the shows are like.
Well, Angela was here in the winter. We had a lovely show in the winter. She did so well, and we loved her so much. We said, please come back in the summer.
That's right.
Because normally our artists come in once a year, so we're really happy that she's back. But we do, through the winter months, January, February, March, and then, of course, in the summer, July, August, and early September. Every other weekend, we have an artist painting or sculpting live, which is great. It's lovely to meet the artists ourselves.
Definitely.
And also our collectors love it.
Yeah, you get such a connection with then the piece. And so, Angela, tell me about the piece that we have here in front of us.
Oh, well, this is called Joyful Empowerment.
Okay.
And originally I'd sculpted her life size, so she's actually 7 feet tall, and I did her for Texas Christian University in Fort Worth, and in front of their education building. And so this is just a smaller version because it's a very, I think a lot of people can relate to it, and it's very inspiring. It's about being on top of the world.
Right.
And so it's for collectors in this size.
Yeah, great. Well, and as you mentioned, that you made this originally life size. Do you work mostly with full scale or even larger than life kind of scale size with your pieces?
All sizes.
All sizes.
All sizes. I'll sculpt this size. I'll sculpt life size, and usually go back and forth.
That's great. So tell me about some of your background. I mean, how did you get interested in sculpting, and what really set you off to, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life?
Well, that's funny.
It's such a big question.
Well, it's something I think I've always known. In fact, my mother teases me and says that I started sculpting mashed potatoes in my high chair. So it's something I've always known and always loved, and I studied it in the university.
So tell me about the sculptures that you make. The pieces are always in bronze, or tell me, go through the process with it. I know there's a lot of steps to it.
Right. In fact, that's a really neat process, and in fact, that's something that's really neat. When people come into the gallery, they see that I'm working on the piece in clay, which is how I start, and then we go through the whole process. So I'll sculpt this whole piece as you see her in clay, and then from the clay, when she's completely finished in detail, I'll make a mold out of silicone. And so the silicone covers the entire piece, and from that silicone, so you have a positive, and then the mold is a negative, we'll pull another positive, which is a wax. So we pour wax in the silicone, get a copy in wax, and then at a foundry, they take the wax and make another mold.
Wow.
And that mold is a big, thick shell of usually ceramic and glass, and they'll pour molten bronze into that, chisel off the shell, and then you have, voila, this piece in bronze.
Which is amazing, and it's fired as well, right? Which gives it its certain qualities.
No, this piece is not fired, so you're thinking of ceramic that's high fired and glazed. So since this is bronze, once it's cast in bronze, it's the pure bronze, and it's polished, all the seams are buffed out. Right, and then we go in, and this is a patina. So in heating the bronze, we'll actually apply different chemicals that react with the bronze. So you have a lot of different, like liver of sulfur turns her black. You have ferric, which is iron oxide, and that turns her kind of gold. And the more you apply, it becomes deeper reds and browns. So a lot of chemistry involved too.
I was going to say,
so you have anatomy.
Not just an artist, but a chemist as well.
After Angela, who's the most important person in the process because she creates the piece, her patina artist is the second most important person because she has to work with the patina artist, and Angela has a unique patina. I've never seen anything like it. In fact, I believe she told me they worked for 6 years to perfect this finish that you see on a bronze. It's not paint, that's oxidized chemicals with a heated bronze, and they're just unique and they're beautiful. Everybody loves them very, very much.
Yeah, it almost has a marble quality to it.
Right.
I'm sure you may have heard that before, but it looks just stunning, especially when you get to see it up close.
Thank you.
So all the more reason then to come into the gallery this weekend and see Angela at work. Tell me about where the gallery is located.
Well, let's see, where is it? Corner of South Park and South Main, 421 South Main Street in Breckenridge, right on the corner. What's nice is we have a lot of Angela's works, and some of them are life-size as well, but we carry her work year-round. It's not just this weekend.
Absolutely, right.
And she's going to be working on a beautiful little piece this weekend called Light of My Life. It's a little girl kneeling looking quite dreamy. How old is she? About 5,
she's
6?
6.
6. Okay, I thought so. And she's in front of a candle, and it's just a beautiful. This is
there
the
she
little
is,
piece
yes.
here right now. So this is nowhere near finished yet, but it's far enough along for people to get the idea, and they can buy a precast at this at a very special price this weekend.
Okay, great. And also you have a great little incentive too when you buy a piece that you get a book as well, right? Tell me
Right,
about that.
right.
Well, she has a beautiful little book,
Yeah.
and it's lovely, and it features a lot of her pieces, both her smaller pieces as well as her larger pieces. It is called Angela Mia Della Vega's Sculpture. But what's really neat, not only do you get a gift copy and is it dedicated by Angela, which a lot of artists do, your piece would be on the cover. And as you can see, the piece we have in front of us is on the cover in this case. That's a very, very special
It's
touch.
very unique and as you said, a very special touch. Well, with all the processes that go in the pieces that you create, how do you decide that it's actually finished? Or you have to be just 100% sure, right?
Wow, that's
Before
funny
send
you
it
would
out.
ask that question because I usually don't feel that they're finished. And
Okay.
it's very hard for me to
can
let it go.
imagine.
But
Yeah.
because, you know, a lot of my subjects are children.
Right.
And, or adults.
And
but-
like real children, you have to let them go at some point, right?
No,
not at
no,
all.
please. My daughter's going to college this fall. I can't accept that quite yet. But I think, you know, they continue to develop and you see
Yeah.
more and more spirit coming out of them and you get to know them better as you're sculpting and you just think, oh, how can I capture that? I really want to add that on. And you do have to let the sculpture go at some point. But
Yeah, well, that's an incredible process, and as you've taken us through on each step, that's amazing on what you have to really dedicate yourself to. And okay, it's ready. I mean, do you also notice some subtle changes that go through? I mean, from the clay to the separate molds and then to the finished product?
you would hope not.
Yeah, you hope not.
Right,
Exactly.
right, exactly. That's where my mold maker has to be so wonderful, and I do have an in-house mold maker, so he'll come to my studio and make it there, and you want it to be exactly as you sculpted it, and right, so not lose any
Incredible
detail.
process.
It's about a 22-step process. Once the clay is done through to the finished bronze. And everybody plays an important part. We really encourage people, take a foundry tour if you ever get a chance, because I was selling bronzes for several years and I hadn't had a foundry tour, and I didn't understand it myself till I saw it. It's complicated. It's one of the oldest forms. It's called the lost wax method. It's one of the oldest forms of creating bronze sculpture. It's been around for thousands of years, but it's worth a visit.
That's interesting you counted the 22 steps. I'm not surprised that there are that many, right?
Yeah, it certainly sounds like that would be the case. And well, as you said, though, it would be worth taking a tour into a
Foundry.
A foundry, yes.
Foundry,
That's
where
the
they
word.
cast bronze.
Where they cast bronze. of
There's
course.
some in Denver,
Well, it'd
some
be
in
worth
Loveland,
taking a trip
some in
also to
Texas.
Breckenridge
Right.
Fine Art Gallery.
Yes.
So stop on right on Main Street in Breckenridge and on the south end of Maine,
Yeah.
right?
Show
before
is
you get
today
to-
from
yeah.
3 till
Okay,
7,
great.
but we're open 10 till 8. So.
Okay, and all families welcome.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yes.
Bring everyone in.
Yes,
We had kids last time sculpting away with her, making things. In fact,
Excellent.
these 2 little kids from England came into the show, and they sculpted about, 10 little things themselves, which I then had to put in a box so they could take them home.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
It was
Great.
wonderful. And the
Well-
kids love it. They learn a lot.
You
and,
bet.
and I learn from them.
I just learned a lot. Well, great. We'll hope to see you this weekend over at Breckenridge Fine Art Gallery, and I hope you guys find some time to stop on in there as well and check out all the amazing art you can see at the Breckenridge Fine Art Gallery. We're going to take another break here, but guys, thank you so much for coming
Thank
in
you.
here this morning.
Thank you.
And we'll be right back with more So Sunrise. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back after this.